the second speaker of today. That is Ervin Zsoter from the ECMWF that will actually go on and explain, what are, the new development of the global flood awareness system, the Glophos, that is one of the components of the model of models that we just, seen in Margaret's presentation. So Ervin, please, the floor is yours. Try to share your screen. If you check if that works.
Thank you, and hello everybody. I'm sharing now my screen. I hope it'll work. So let me know if it's on the screen.
That's
Is
perfect.
it?
We all see that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm very happy to talk about the global flood awareness system, alas Glophos as we call it. In this talk, in particular, I will focus on the service part, the service evolution of the system, basically in the last few years as it has been developed. Glophos is, how to move the slides forward. Okay, so this is it worked. So Glophos is a collaborative effort, collaboration at its best, I would say. ECMWF, we operate the system together with the Joint Research Center of the European Commission, JRC. We develop the system, but there are also other institutions, collaborators like the University of Reading, Reims, and others who actually help mainly in the evaluation and the analysis of the data. Glophos tries to be a global complementary information. So we are there if basically either on top of the local, national, or regional hydrological prediction systems, or basically as an only available system in some areas. And this is especially useful if disasters strike in areas, and unfortunately they don't really look out for areas where all the capabilities are there. And humanitarian agencies, Red Cross and others are then going to be able to use our predictions, and especially use it in kind of like medium range mode when early warnings kind of will be there to use. It's a probabilistic system providing hydrological forecast, as Maggie nicely introduced it before me, for the next 30 days, and also in the seasonal component for the next 4 months or 16 weeks at the moment. It's run at the moment on 10-kilometer resolution globally. Glophos has this wonderful advantage of being part of the Copernicus infrastructure. So we are part of the Copernicus Emergency Management Service. All our data is open and free for actually any user, and it's really encouraged that users actually take this up and use it. So we are around 6,000 with registered users. Data, web data kind of products are available after registration. Several hundred people seem to be using it daily, so hopefully it's kind of like acknowledged as well. How can the users access our kind of products? Through which services? First of all, there is the web, as I mentioned. So the web map user, viewer, currently 22, but from December, when we have the new model version implemented, there will be 35 layers in total available. Forecasts are available. Users can go back out to 2011. So basically all the real-time forecast, whichever number of layers back then were available. So it's a good way to actually see also the evolution. Related to this, the web map service is there to basically service all these web charts, and the users can ingest it in any kind of GIS applications. Also, we have been running an additional tailored data services through a dedicated FTP stream. So there are quite a few participating and collaborating institutions, national, international organizations. I just heard that the PDC itself, or the World Food Program, as it was mentioned last week, or the Red Cross in many locations around the world, especially in the forecast-based financing projects. They are using heavily Glophos. And the most recent area where we can actually provide the data is through the Copernicus Climate Data Store. it's a wonderful idea of collecting all sorts of climate data, Earth system data, hundreds of thousands of data sets. And amongst them now, Glophos is also available together with EFAS, which is the European part of this CHEMS flood project. And from December, 5 datasets will be available, accessible, downloadable, again, only after registering. A little bit on the evolution. So basically, what was the timeline? So how did we end up having this global flood awareness system? It started out at least 10 years ago. 2011 was when still running, the system was running at the JRC, kind of like in an experimental fashion, but every day forecasts were produced, a website was designed, and ever since the data and the web products have been available. And then in 2015, when ECMWF was already the computational center for EFAS, the system was ported onto ECMWF platforms, and since then it has been basically running there at ECMWF. Back then, still not operationally supported. Another big step forward in November 2017, when we introduced the seasonal component, the first of its kind, providing global hydrological information out to 4 months lead time for high flow, low flow probabilities, using some kind of like ways of portraying the data. The big kind of change happened in April 2018, when Glophos finally was implemented operationally. Before this time, officially no money was spent on the system or the development. So since then, it's fully supported, 24/7 supported. And as part of this upgrade, we also introduced the seamless forcing system, relying after the first 15 days on ECMWF extended range forecast, which ever since basically has been in the system. A modeling upgrade, mainly a modeling upgrade, happened in November 2018. Since when we actually number the system to have the users obviously refer to the actual forecast version they are using or referring to. This was version 2.0. The routing component, which is done with the list flood hydrological model, was calibrated with over 1,000 stations, the discharge time series. On top of it, ERA5 and ERA5T, which is the timely, almost real-time, very near real-time available part, was introduced into climatology and also in initialization. We also introduced the reforecast, the concept of the 20-year reforecasts, and I will talk about that some more a little later. The last, before now, upgrade happened November last year, 2019, version 2.1. When the reanalysis was the first data set we actually entered into the CDS. So since then, it's over a year now, the data set has been available. Obviously, many times it has been downloaded, lots of data volume, etc. With each model upgrade, which actually impacts river discharge, we recompute all our products, the reanalysis, the reforecasts, the seasonal data sets, everything. So from this upgrade, basically, this protocol has been introduced. On top of it, we have also added a few products. One of them is the global flood risk assessment. Again, will be introduced a little further, and several new web products. The next upgrade is happening very soon, so almost imminent. Beginning of December, it's planned for the 2nd of December, so please look out. There will be kind of many new additions, which you will hopefully be happy to use on the web. It will obviously called version 2.2, further data sets in the CDS, and as I said, different products, forecast scale layer, and so on. Just a little summary on kind of like a flavor on what products we actually offer at the moment to the users on the web. A new group is the initial or antecedent conditions, which will be added in December. It relates to how we start basically the forecast, how the users basically interpret what is this kind of like a starting initial situation, precipitation, soil melt, other variables, and also anomalies of these using the error 5, which is also part of our forcing the reanalysis and the initialization to provide anomalies. From the methodological forcing, currently we provide precipitation. So for forecast maps for the next 10 days, the mean, the probabilities for over a few thresholds. And as a new addition from December, the daily animated precipitation will also be available. This hopefully will help the users basically to kind of like track weather systems and give a better idea on how that actually evolves. We have ancillary data, layers, river network with upstream area, location of kind of like implemented reservoirs, lakes, all sorts of other information as well. The flood risk product, which is our first step, hopefully of many, to basically going towards the impact-based forecasting, which is kind of like the longer-term target. So in this product, we use the discharge information as kind of like the highest discharge in the 30-day forecast horizon, and based on the catalog of flood inundation maps, produce kind of like an estimate on where flood inundation is expected, and then it's kind of like cross related with vulnerability and exposure data sets. We produce kind of like a pop-up window with a matrix, as you can see in this example, with all sorts of qualitative information on kind of like the estimate on the impacted number of people, infrastructure, and also from December, this will be extended by the airports, health and education facilities, and also including information on the flood defenses from FlowPros. Therefore, if the defense is there, then maybe you won't see the colored area, the administrative units basically, which highlight if impacts are expected in a certain area. We also give further more detailed information in certain locations. We have a set of points, we call them reporting points, a few thousands of them, where we drill into the data and then give the regular hydrographs, and also from December time series graphs of the meteorological forcing, precipitation, snow melt, and temperature will be included. And on top of it, evolution of the forecast probability, the exceedance probabilities are also there in tables. So basically more and more information is available. How about this data sets? I mean, this we really believe is a very strong point of Glophos as a unique system. All our data that we produce is going to be available in MARS, which is the Meteorological Archival Retrieval System of ECMWF. It's a data archive basically that is behind the CDS, the Climate Data Store. It has hundreds of petabytes of data, which now also includes hydrological data, which we are very proud of. The reanalysis was the first a year ago entering the system. Then this year in May, we added the real-time Glophos forecast, the 30-day forecast. And in December, the remaining three, so the seasonal real-time forecast, the 30-day reforecast, and the seasonal reforecast will be added. This is kind of a large data set if you look at it this way, especially the reforecast. The seasonal reforecast started in 1981. Every month, basically, we have a forecast. So it's a long stretch of forecast, kind of like similarly produced. For the medium range, or the 30-day, as we call it, version, we rely upon ECMWF's 20-year reforecast, as we call it, which basically is a system in real time. They produce forecast for the past 20 years, always for Mondays and Thursdays, with a limited number of ensemble members. For computational reasons, it's not possible to produce with the full 51 ensemble members as it is in real time. Over 2,000 forecasts in this system over a 20-year period, so it's a long period, many forecasts. It's an excellent way of kind of like evaluating the forecast or the focus performance of the system, kind of like working out post-processing algorithms and the like. As a first application in the verification arena, in December, we're introducing a new layer which is a forecast performance layer. This will utilize this 20-year reforecast and produce kind of like show the lead time when the CRPS scale score drops below 0.5, kind of like seen against two benchmarks, the persistence and the climatology. So in this work and this product, everything is verified with or against the reanalysis. So far, no observations are used. There will be further verification products later. Now an example on basically how Glophos can work and can showcase basically the capability of the systems. So Glophos is not yet the finished article. So there are areas where the model performance is lower. There are areas where obviously we are more capable of picking up flood signals. This area in Bangladesh on the Brahmaputra River is definitely an area where we can look very far ahead. So the predictability is really long. In this case, floods occur every year, kind of almost regularly. In this year, they had like 2 big waves in June, end of June, and also most of July. And from the forecast, I picked the 10-day forecast. And by the way, thanks Sazad Hossain from the Bangladesh Flood Forecasting Center and also PhD students at Reading University to provide this case study. So the 10-day forecast, as you can see, the pattern of the increase or decrease of the discharge pretty much matches, very, very nicely matches the observed discharge kind of like pattern. The values are different. We have a positive bias, quite significant positive bias in this location. But as we intend or try to say to the users, the intended use of Glophos is basically look at the forecast in the context of its own climatology. That kind of flood signal is pretty realistic. In this case, we could look ahead, as you can see on the top right corner graph, 15 days ahead. There was a strong signal, albeit with very strong and very high uncertainty, but still a good indication of a very early heads up on a potential significant flood down the line. Okay, but what's going to happen with Glophos? I mean, Glophos has been operational for just over 2.5 years. And this is the period where we could really put resources and effort in developing the system. And we will always look into developing and improving the system in all sorts of different areas. 2 major upgrades are planned. One of them is looking into the core of the system, so basically how hydrology is modeled. So far, it has been based on the H-decile land surface model of ECMWF. We are switching to the full configuration using list flood in a runoff, rainfall runoff model configuration, basically. So it's a major upgrade. We try to look at all sorts of different aspects, basically, about it. Another one will be a major resolution change, going from 10 kilometer to 5 kilometer. Part of it, we also upgrade all the maps, the underlying maps, not just the river network, but also soil maps, land use, all the like. So it will really expect it to have a significant positive impact. Other developments are planned. One of them is to look at how the thresholds are used in the 30-day component and switching from the one R5-based threshold to a kind of like a range-dependent one, which represents the biases properly, and also other products like the global flood monitoring products. Remember Peter's talk last week, we are really looking forward to it, or having a flash flood kind of prediction layer based on EC point, rainfall post-processing product of ECMWF, or other verification maps or modeling improvements, of course. So basically the list is long and we are working hard. Please go on the website, use the data, use the forecast, go on the CDS. It's excellent. Use the CDS kind of like has also like a toolbox where you can just really go and dig into data, merge different data sets and plot them right there and then. And also there's an API, so the data can programmatically be added into your systems. It's excellent. If you are interested, go and check out these kind of like scientific papers. basically they will show all sorts of details about how Glophos, the methodology, has been evolving and how the system was developed in the last few years. And with this, thank you so much.